worded that thank you to whoever in here, and actually up the other class too, came and asked me about this problem and made me realize, like, this is kind of funky wording, and if we didn't get to problem 89, well, then referencing problem 89 doesn't help very much. Now, reminder, this is in your math notes, how we multiply using the unit rectangle. So for next year, this is what my homework is going to say. So go ahead and read that, especially if you haven't done 91 yet. And you could go ahead and draw the unit rectangles on your paper if you haven't done that yet.
Wait, where is this?
This is problem 91. I have rewritten it. If you've been listening from the beginning when I started talking. This one that was on your paper is weirdly worded. What it's actually asking you to do is just do 2/3 of 2/5. But also do 2/5 of 2/3. So, for example, hey, we're going to do this together. This is one of those. So if you still don't have a pencil, you're making poor choices this morning. We are 2/3. So if I go, I don't know, thirds this way, and shade in two of them, and like I suggested yesterday, highlighters are great. 2/3. Right, shade it in. 2/5, I'm going to go green for my fifths. As I think it was Raiden told us yesterday, or somebody, I need to cut 4 times to make 5 spaces. It's okay if they're not exactly the same size. Then I'm going to shade 2 of those. I'm going to shade 2 of those. And the ones that are only single shaded don't matter. But how many got double shaded? 4 out of a total. So the other one, and this is where I, like yesterday, was telling you guys don't do this because it's silly. But if I do 2/3 this way, why am I saying that starting this way is kind of silly? Why am I saying that? Because if I go 2/3 that way, Donna? Yeah, so I have these 2/3 filled in. Now I need to do 2/5. So now I'm going to go this way. 2, 3. Am I still going to get the same answer? Yes. It's just a little harder to draw that, but we still get 4/15. Right? We still get our double shaded region is 4/15. Reminder, how to multiply with your unit rectangle is in our math notes. Oh, I didn't plug you in. This is the funny time when it's using this camera. No, does it even know what camera to use right now? Oh, I don't know if my other camera's working, but I don't care about that. If people need to see me, well, I kind of hope they can see my board. But reminder, your Chapter 2 math notes. Right, Chapter 2, and I'm making little notes about what I should probably add for next year. Multiplying fractions, using a rectangle. It's right back here, back of your math notes. All right, any other questions about 91? Thank you to those of you that came to ask me questions about it. Next year's class, we'll have it rewritten in a better way that makes more sense. Matt? Sorry, what'd you say? The word of in mathematics pretty much just translates to multiplication. So yes, Matt, thank you for pointing that out. Of tells you to multiply. If you have 2 sets of 5, right? 2 sets of 5, that's 2 times 5. If I have 3 pairs of socks, well, what's a pair? 2. What's 3 times 2? Like, all right, so we're going to skip this start slide from 226. Guys, look, I'm sorry. I'm hungry too. I get it. I should probably finish my smoothie. But if somebody offers you half of a pizza, half of a pizza,
That's two.
how much are they actually offering you, Sophie? I should probably get my cards. How much? Well, okay, but 2 slices, what would that be as a fraction? 2 out of 8. Because if we think about half of, thank you, Matt, for stealing the word out of, like, you essentially and teaching what I was about to teach. Half of a half tells us to multiply. You might want to write this in your graph paper.
Wait, would this be like the multiplication of portions? Like that would
Yeah, the stuff we were doing yesterday, this can keep going from what we did yesterday. Thank you for that reminder, Emery. Man, you guys are on your A game. In Schoology now. Also, I'm trying to be on my A game too. No, you're the wrong window. In Schoology now. I've uploaded my notes from yesterday, right? Because somebody asked me for them, but I only had 1 copy, so I didn't quite want to give them away. So if you need yesterday's notes, they're here. But if I was you, I would continue taking those notes. So for me, I'm flipping past absolute value. I'm flipping past number types, multiplication. Now multiplication of portions. I'm kind of out of space. I guess I got a little space at the bottom of the paper here. So we could be writing half of a half, and let's make that note on our paper that of tells us multiply. So how much of the total pizza are we actually going to get? Well, what's 1 times 1? 1. What's 2 times 2? Because multiplication of fractions. Because I don't know what's gotten into me this week. Maybe it's the spooky season, but I'm kind of feeling a little. This is easy. Sorry.
This is the 3rd day in a row.
I know. I don't know. I think maybe I'm growing older. And I'm trying to impress my friends by saying bad words. And, Matt.
I've heard that word more than like 20 times in the past 3 days.
Okay, I don't know what.
From you.
No,
And
not
everyone else in the
absolutely not true.
You
But
said it like
guys, doesn't this feel a lot better than adding fractions of like? And do not fall into the trap. Do we have common denominators here? Yes, but does that matter? No.
you have to time
It does not matter that we have common denominators. We're multiplying across the top, multiplying across the bottom.
Wait, can I say something?
Yes.
So say it was
I thought you were going to say something. Sorry, go ahead.
say it was 4 like over 10, and then 7 over 13. You've got to times both of them at the bottom.
So like multiply in between here. What's 4 times 7? 13 times 10?
130.
Mic drop. Like it's so to prove how good you are at this, look at your 226. Let's practice this 6 times over to gain some confidence.
What about 227? Was there not one?
There is none. We switch over to 2 3s
Oh, okay.
because it's just like a new unit. If you need a calculator, you can get one, but like just work with your partner. I think most of this math is manageable. Taking names. Straight across the top, straight across the bottom, straight across the top. Let me look. Can I help you? 6. It's not binary, it's just everything.
6.
All the old stuff was in mind.
What's 5 times 13?
This was
65.
actually crazy enough. We helped someone figure out that they had diabetes because they were constantly going to the restroom. It was an issue. Yeah, guys, not just, so some of the restroom
It's
sign out
actually
thing
70.
is just some of you were abusing going to the restroom, using it kind of as just like an escape. But for real, one year we helped somebody figure out that they had, like, that they were getting diabetes because one of the things is that, like, your kidneys don't work right and then you, like, pee all the time. Like, you constantly have to go to the bathroom. Like, legitimately, you feel like you always have to go to the bathroom. And then we helped them figure out, you need to go to the doctor. And they took care of it. And they got medicated and everything. Who's done with all 6? Who's done with 3 of them?
I'm done with 3.
Ooh, there we go.
And this wouldn't be on our multiplication portions. This would just be like on, like, working.
Yeah, I mean, this is on your paper, so you can just keep it on your paper. I don't think you need much space to do work. You can just do the math, write
I
it
know.
down.
I don't want to use my notes and like my work and stuff. You know. Do you dig it?
I
Do you
dig it.
understand?
Just like a garden, I dig it.
Just like mashed potatoes.
I dig it. What's 6 times 8?
What? Mashed
I don't think it's mashed potatoes are pretty good.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
for
but
real?
I'm confused.
I know. You figure it out.
Oh, I figured out a better idea. Big graphic. Instead of taking other small paper together with giant graphic. So you guys are all done.
I got a question.
Good.
Jack, you stalled out, man? What's up? About what? Yeah. 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 Hey, Mark, is it tiny bit lower? Not really. It's like a 1-inch problem. I'm walking away
Okay,
from
hold
you,
on.
Sophia.
Are you doing Jacob today?
With Accelerate, like with 7-8.
Can I switch it?
Sure. If we ever get through this lesson, you
This
can
is-
actually do it while we're in this lesson.
These sessions are on 2.8.
Devin, on A, what'd you get? 35.48. Donna, what about B? 8 over 75.
It's 70.
65?
I got 65.
I think it's
70.
65.
Yeah.
Because
Bethany, I
5
think
times 10 is 50. 5 times 3 is 15. I think it's 65.
That's how I got it.
It's all good. Guys, mental math. We make mistakes. It happens.
What you just did is how I got it.
Math is hard. Ashley, what about C? Boom, and those are both actually perfect squares, 36 and 49, because it was 6 times 6, 7 times 7. Raiden, what about D?
I didn't do that
Well, help me with it. How would we do it?
4 times 3.
Which is?
12.
And 7 times 8?
56.
Yeah. See, there you go. Do it live. Emery, what about E?
6 over 22. I could have said that by myself.
You did say it by yourself.
I know, but she like.
Lane, F.
So that was.
I had a comment. On D, can you simplify 4 and 8?
For which one?
4 and 8. Can you
For D. Okay, so you're saying,
I got 3 of 14 because I simplified.
oh, you did cross reducing.
Yeah.
So you did this and that, which is it's a great skill. You don't have to do that. You could also wait till out here and reduce because both of these are even. So we could get this down to 6 over 28 and then 3 over 14, which is what you probably
I
got.
did the same thing for E too. I got 3 11.
Yeah. So you're right. We could reduce.
Then can I do F?
Sure. Because this did not say we had to reduce. Lane's right. We could, but we don't have to. Lane.
I simplified 9.
Please stop because he's really distracted.
I simplified 9 and 3, and then I got 8 times 3 is 24, and then 1 times 14 is 15, so I got 24 and 15.
So if Lane hadn't reduced, 14 times 3, 30, 42?
42.
But if we reduce, what Lane said is both of these can actually divide by 3. He did it over here, where you can do cross reducing. But yeah, absolutely. Any questions on these? Carolyn? 1 and, oh, because from here, 1 and 30, 40 seconds. Yep, absolutely. Another equivalent value.
And then I got, if you simplify 24 over 14, I got 1 and 12.
1 and how many? I think it's just 10 14s, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You
1 and
can
10.
mention Lane Bergen come to the Perry office.
Why?
Lane Bergen. Thank you.
We're in math class.
That's on me.
That's on you.
What do you do?
He was just solving a math.
All right, Lane. Hopefully you get back here before class ends, because we'll probably. No, I don't know that.
I think I just put my orthodox.
Oh man, your teeth aren't that important. I'm joking. Your teeth are very important. Take care of them. I still have a permanent retainer, like on the bottom, because like certain, like when they take your braces off, they'll be like, well, your teeth are gonna move if we don't put something here. So they cement it to your two like bottom canines, and there's just like a metal bar behind it. I had the palate expanders that you have to crank with the key. It's like an old school torture device.
Yes.
Guys, I like.
that.
I feel your pain. Like, I really do. Multiplying mixed numbers. Now, I really think this would be better on graph paper, but then again, I think that about everything. So, if you would like to do this on graph paper, you need to decide a scale. If you're not going to do this on graph paper, it's on your homework page. But I'm going to do this on graph paper because I just, sort of have an addiction to graph paper. Guys, my whole life is literally...
Graph paper.
Like, my wife will walk into the room and be like, what are you sketching? I'm like, oh, the next project. She'll just glance over my... So, if you want straight lines, choose a ruler or get a ruler. I'm going to make, because we're working in, like, I'm going to imagine... Oh, feet. Yeah, they tell us feet. Guys, how many inches are in a foot? 12. So, when we think about feet, we're actually working with 12. And one of the nicest amount of ways to scale your graph paper is 4 boxes to be a foot. So I'm going to make a little note on my graph paper that 4 boxes is a foot. But now I'm going to draw 3.5 feet. So 4, 8, 12, and then 2 more because that's a half foot, right? So I'm going to label then 3. Should I color code yet? No, probably not. Guys, if you're choosing not to do this, that's fine. But fine is not great. And I'm choosing to slow down and do some of these things like a bit more in depth with you to hope that it sticks better than previous years. Or my previous year's teaching, not just your previous years of math. 1.5 feet tall, so 4 boxes for my 1 foot. Another 2 boxes for the half. Neither can I. So we're going to split this into 3 feet, 1 foot, half a foot, and half a foot. Is it easier to work in just feet or mix and do feet and inches? It's easier to just work in feet. And guys, I will confess to you, if you're working in just inches, sometimes when you're doing the math, and I know you guys will be like, but wait, you always say fractions are better. Guys, these are inches, but because I was actually doing the calculations on a calculator, while I wrote it down, I wrote it in decimals, but then I had to convert it back to fractions, because when you work with a measuring tape, measuring tapes are all fractioned out, right? So if I'm talking inches and feet, it's all fractioned out. Now, metric tapes, which you don't find metric tapes in America like all that often, metric tapes are fractioned out for decimals, right? So those are 10 little marks in between the centimeters here, but in between here, there's half, a fourth, an eighth, a 16th. These are all fractions. What are you saying, Sam? See, I think that about almost everything, but then when I go into my shop, because how I grew up was inches and fractions, I just default back to using inches and fractions. And also, most of my measuring tapes are American measuring tapes, so they're inches. Yeah, we signed the Treaty of the Meter, and we said we were going to switch to the metric system, and we lied. So, just like Emery talking about digging it, Rona is making a garden, right? This is Rona's garden. She needs to calculate this area so that then she can figure out the volume and determine how much dirt she needs to buy. If we split the garden up, I feel like it's a whole lot easier to calculate the area. The garden's gonna be 3.5 feet wide, 1.5 feet long, or wide and long. I don't care how we do it. But if we split the garden up, the area of this top left section, what's 3 times 1? 3, and if we're talking area, we're gonna call that 3 feet squared. Thank you. Exponent. Right, yesterday we were talking about order of operation with exponents. I want you and your partner to try to fill in the rest of the garden areas. What are the areas of the rest of the garden?
So, wait. Okay. So, trying to fill up the areas first. I got all of them.
That would make sense. So the first problem is with all from the fractions were here, so you probably wrote all those.
1 times 1 half.
So you don't have to do that again. Now we're doing this one. But I kind of like it on graphic because it's easier to see. But you can do it on that one too.
And you got one.
Huh?
Yeah.
Hey, friends, can we just keep any whistling to not in the classroom? It's just distracting. So, Kamal, the top right here. Top right here. What'd you get? 1/2, because 1 times 1/2. So 1/2, and again, that's going to be feet squared, but if I can't fit the labels in, I can wait until I write out the total. Jack, what'd you get down here at the bottom left? 1 and 1/2, or as I walked around, some of you wrote 3/2. You could write 1 and 1/2. You could also write the decimal 0.5, but all of those would have the label feet squared. Sorry, 1 point, my B. Man, if somebody had been quicker, somebody could have gotten candy. Who do I still owe candy to? No, it wasn't this class, it was the next class.
Wait, what do you mean?
And the bottom right. What is 1/2 times 1/2? Anybody?
2/4.
1/4. Be careful because you multiply across the tops and you multiply across the bottoms.
This is 2/4, but I wrote 1/4.
It is 1/4. So let's add all these up. 3, 4.5, 5, and 1/4. So our total...
Mr. Hudson, you didn't write feet square.
I know, because I was kind of running out of space, so I didn't want to cram it. So if you don't put your labels on your working numbers, guys, your working numbers, not your final answer, right? Your working numbers are not your final answer. So 5 and 1/4 feet squared. Or you could also write it 5 and 1/4 square feet if you just want to write it the other way. But I kind of like using the exponent. This is in your math notes. If you go flip and look at multiplying mixed numbers, this is in your math notes. Sam. Yes, I think. Pretty sure, yeah. All right, any questions on Rona's garden?
Like Corona?
Or like Verona?
Or
I think Verona's a place.
I need
All right. Yes, Desmos, get out your Chromebooks. Get out your Chromebooks. Sorry, I didn't know that we would actually make it through and have time left.
We have time, Mr. Hudson.
The 2.3.1 lesson can be done through Desmos, which I think is more effective. Anyone need my loaner?
So we still need help.
Anyone need my loaner?
Wait, so we still got
What time is it? 43. You got like 9 minutes left. So you didn't have to turn your paper like me. I was just trying to squeeze it in, but that really would go in your notes if I was you. So guys, again, and man, I wish I could take you in a time machine back to my first year teaching because I think I was probably funny. But again, like not in a good way. Like I tried to tell kids what they had to do and I thought I could control 12-year-olds and that was funny. But guys, if you're doing what I suggest, you now just have like a set of graph paper in your binder that just like has the things we've written down in class. And how you organize these is up to you. But if you've been taking my advice, you should now have a pretty good supply of notes. So you didn't have to turn your paper with, like, I just did this because I had already written up here. But however, if you turn your paper sideways, like, and you can still use it, that's fine. What you're looking for on Desmos is 2.3.1. I think it's called, like, mouse versus elephant.
What? Mouse versus elephant.
If you want to know what, get on your computer and get to the
Mouse
activity.
versus elephant. Who do you think's gonna win?
Mouse.
Definitely the mouse.
It's the new graphing utility that they put out, but that's not what you're going to right now. What you're going to right now is the student homepage.
It's mouse v elephant.
Well, V stands for versus.
Yeah, I know. So start.
That looks oddly similar to what Charlie drew this morning over there. You see the little like alien face or whatever you want to call it? Oh, you drew that? Sorry. Charlie went to that board. So go ahead and start. You are not waiting for me. Go ahead and start.
I'm starting.
Mouse versus elephant.
Can you make our names different?
Why did what?
What do you mean between
A mouse. Enter.
Man, I copy pasted from Sepia. If you would really like to change all the fonts of all my homeworks, I will give you access to my Google.
I'll do it.
I can do it. I like making
Times New Roman is a classic standby font. What would you prefer instead? Arial? Because you better not say Comic Sans. If you say Comic Sans, I'm going to laugh at you.
Okay, I was gonna say that as a joke.
Thank you, as a joke. Okay, Helvetica? Is Helvetica the best font? Hey, so as funny as this argument is, we really need to try to do this Desmos so we can get to Jenga this week.
There's this one font called like Google or something, and it's like it literally just looks like the font for Lord of the Rings.
That's pretty sweet. I wish I had a font that was my uncle's handwriting, because my uncle was an architect. And I'm sure I could find a font that looks like architect print. But like architects, literally part of their like training in college is you have to write a very specific way. Sam, you good? Because you're kind of getting lost in the Google hole.
Okay, sorry.
Like,
It says size versus speed, and I want to put yes and no because I think both are right.
so notice how it normally gives you a spot to type in your explanation. You could put that in your typed explanation, even though you had to pick one of them. I have most of us in here. Looks like I'm still waiting for Lane. Nope. Yeah, Lane, you doing okay? Oh. Oh, yeah. Raiden. Doing okay? Because I don't... There you are. I don't know what's up with Safe. Is he, like, really sick?
I don't know.
Ask Lane or Taylor.
If someone is gonna know, it would be Lane. I don't think if Justin knew, it would be Lane, not Caleb.
Taylor knows.
This is really interesting. When I looked at this, it was split even more evenly. Guys, and I'm like, it doesn't matter what you said here. Like, I'm not looking for a quote-unquote right answer. This is just interesting.
Google it.
No, do not Google it. Just keep doing
Ron.
the math activity. You're good.
Elephant goes 25 miles
Hey,
per
hey,
hour.
hey, hey. You have space to give your thoughts in the Desmos activity where we can all read it.
Who's Ellen at FM?
They are famous mathematicians. If you would like to Google your name, you may, like you're allowed, that's fine. You are a notable mathematician. So not necessarily Einstein, but what your name is now, because I anonymized you guys, if you Google what your name is now, it's a notable mathematician. So like your name, if you exit that person, they are a notable mathematician.
Oh,
Well, probably about math, though. Like something to do with math.
Amy Brandish.
She's got to have something to do with math. Or there's multiple people at the same time. If you put math her name, I bet you might get it. Hey, but please don't spend too long Googling your person, because like we're trying to get this activity done. I don't know. Aren't there instructions?
I'm confused on Kira's graph.
So, Kira's graph, when you get to this, is a little goofed. What it is asking us to do is type upper and lower boundaries for the x-axis, the x-axis, and the y-axis to better compare these animals. Is there any, like, one animal up here on the graph that we might say, like, nah, not today, you're not part of this activity because you just are way too far out there? Because in math, we call these things an outlier. Kamal, like, don't just stare and point. You want to raise your hand to, like, answer for the class? No. Okay, well, Kamal is awkwardly pointing instead of wanting to answer for the class at this point. So we're just going to say, forget about you. You're not part of this activity. You're too much of an outlier. Sometimes when we're collecting data, like, guys, if you wanted to collect data about average age of this class, would you include me?
No.
No, because I'm an outlier, because I'm old, like triple your age. So,
I'm
yeah,
so
I
young.
am. I'm like 34, 35 about.
Oh
That's
my
like
gosh,
triple
that's
your age.
young. I
know,
call, like,
I don't think
30
I'm old,
I
but
thought like 39
Matt
is old.
younger is old. I mean, is young.
mathematically speaking, I'm an outlier if we're talking about age. So we're gonna like not care about this outlier. So, guys, your least x value, you could put 0, because do we have any x's in the negative? But if you put 0, I'm going to tell you, it doesn't look as nice as it could. I didn't put 0, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So go ahead and try this out. Try some values. You're doing a least x value and a greatest x value. I don't think we need to go to 200,000. I have a feeling we barely even need to go to 5,000. Like, because none of these points are even close to 5,000.
all these points are at 0 except for the out.
They're not at 0. Our scale is just too big.
Oh.
We got to fix the scale. You know, just keep trying.
Wait, which one's the x's?
That has nothing to do with our math activity. I'm going to stay focused.
What?
I'm going to stay focused on the math.
Which one's the x's and which one's the y? Is the green the x's?
So if you look up at the screen, I highlighted to help you out. The green are your X's. The blue are your Y's.
They're 0 kilograms.
They are not.
Hey, why is the bottom cracked?
So now that most of us are on slide, whatever this is, screen 6 on improve Curie's graph, here's one thing you could try. Okay, if you look up here, here's one thing I tried, -1,000, because I like to give a negative space so that we see a little bit of like extra space over here. Right? Because I like to be able to see my label. I like to be able to see my, like, getting a little extra, but this might be a bit too much extra space. I like to see all of my points up here, but this is a lot of extra space that I don't know that I actually need. My extra space at the top, there's not too much extra. So you want to try to dial in these numbers to try to spread your points out the most you can. My numbers aren't great. They're getting there. I'm dialing it in a little bit, but I could do better than this. Keep trying. I want to know when you think you've got like the best scale possible, and we can share it up front with everyone. So actually, unfortunately, we all have to stop because it is time to go. We will pick up Desmos tomorrow right when you guys come in. Pull out your Chromebooks. Let's dive into Desmos. I want to try to finish that and 232 tomorrow so we can Jenga on Friday. Okay, I'd really like to Jenga on Friday so our choir people don't miss it. Yes. My opinion on raccoons is they are horrible little creatures that steal my marshmallows when I'm camping. We literally had one come up into our campsite, climb onto the picnic table, like 3 feet away from my buddy Ben, and we're like, "Did you guys hear something?" And we turn on our flashlights, and like within reach of Ben, there's a raccoon on the table, and we're like, "Dude!" And he just runs, like with the bag of marshmallows in his mouth, just runs into the woods, and Ben runs after him. But we're like, "Ben, it's dark. You're not. No, come on."
That happened like
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
Yeah, they're vicious. They'll steal my food all day long.
Yeah, but they got out.
Yes.
Also for the rain.
So 24 could also be turned into a fraction. So 5/6 of 24. We talked today about